Going live in a couple of minutes. Stay tuned, guys. Stay tuned. Hello, everybody. What is going on? It's Jacob Doodle here. Welcome, guys, to your Vancouver Canucks live news. Canucks news you might have missed live. We did this one time before, and it was honestly a ton of fun to do. So I thought, hey, let's run it back. Let's do this one more time, and should be a good time. So if you guys are in here, feel free to leave comments throughout the stream. If you guys have any questions as this goes on, it's going to be just a blast, man. We have a lot of Vancouver Canucks news, some stuff with Elliotte, Friedman. We have updates on the whole Sherwood situation, Quinn Hughes. It's just there's a lot. So we're going to be going over and talking about all those lovely things. But I want you guys to be a part of the show. So feel free to go out, share this with everybody that you guys know that we are indeed live talking some Vancouver Canucks. It's going to be a really good time, man. I think it's going to be a blast. So let's kind of get started with it. And the first thing I have here is from the fourth period with David. And by the way, of course, we're going to be using our man Canucks news summaries with the recaps. I actually asked him to come on. Unfortunately, he's busy tonight, so he's not able to join us for this stream. But, you know, if you guys don't follow him already, my goodness, follow the guy. He's just an absolute lifesaver in so many things. A lot of things. All right, let's get to it. So the Vancouver Canucks, this is from the fourth period. The Bruins, the Wild, the Stars, the Canadiens, and the Blue Jackets and Devils have all called about Kiefer Sherwood. The price for Sherwood is believed to be asking for a first-round pick and another asset. I would be perfectly happy if it was just a first-round pick, honestly. If they're asking for another asset on top of it, that's fine. But honestly, I'd be perfectly fine if it's just the first. Are willing to wait until a team is willing to pay up for Sherwood. Well, they can wait until the trade deadline. That's as far as they can wait, honestly, right? He's a UFA, so that's as long as they can really wait. I just hope they can go out and get that full value as we're hoping for. And also listening in on Connor Garland, Bluger, Drew Connor, Reichel, Kane, and Forbert. So let's go over those names. So Forbert, you're looking at a middle round pick. He's been hurt pretty much all year. One of the best penalty killing guys in the league. Kane, you're only going to get a late pick for Vander Kane. Let's be perfectly honest. You're not going to get too much from him. He's just hasn't been the best fit here in Vancouver. Personally, And with Kane right now, the way I see it, I think the Vancouver Canucks would be perfectly fine trading him, and he's a UFA as well, right? Lucas Reichel, they tried a little bit of a gamble there. It didn't seem to work out. Could they get their pick back? I don't know. Probably they're looking at a 5th or 6th rounder at best there right now. You know, Drew O'Connor, a very interesting player. He was on a bit of a heater for a little while there, but after that, he's kind of slowed down, and now he got healthy scratched a few times. And Drew O'Connor. Sorry, I was looking at Reichel again. He was on a bit of a heater, but you know, recently he hasn't put up the points, but he's still playing, I think, pretty decently. By the way, we have Cash in here. What's going on, Cash? Nice to have you in here. A first for Garland or Sherwood, and a bag of pucks for Kane. That's what he says. Nice having you in here, Cash. All right, and so let's get to some of the bigger names here. You know, first of all, let's get Teddy Bluger out of the way. I'm not sure what Bluger is worth because he hasn't played all year, right? But he is a reliable 3rd to 4th line center if they're looking at that. But you're not going to get more than a 3rd or 4th rounder for him, I think. So, like, there's no real point to going out and trading Bluger, personally. He's a good leadership guy as well. Maybe if we can get him healthy here soon, he can play a little bit better before the deadline. I think that'll look a little bit more interesting. Now, let's talk about the two kind of the bigger names here. The first one is, of course, Kiefer Sherwood. So Sherwood, I believe you have to get at least a 1st rounder or 2 2nd rounders personally. Now, there were some interesting reports I'm going to mention a little bit later on in this video with Rick Dhaliwal. He talked about some of the names that we could be interested in, either Garland or Sherwood. And one of those names actually is Zach Bolduc, so stay tuned on that. That's an interesting name from Montreal. And we're also going to be talking about that whole Detroit Red Wings type situation there with Elliotte Friedman. That's another really interesting thing. But as for Connor Garland, I think he's one of those guys you keep. I don't know why you would trade him. He's signed. He's extended. I guess he doesn't have a no trade protection right now, but like, is there any real need to trade him? And after hearing the news today that the Vancouver Canucks have basically once again mentioned that they have no interest in rebuilding, then I just don't see any point in trading Connor Garland. I just don't see any point whatsoever with that, right? So what do you guys think? What do you guys think, first of all those guys are worth, Sherwood and Garland as well? I'm curious what you guys think as I move on to the next little story here. So this is Irfan Gafar, and this is on Daily Faceoff, right? So Kiefer Sherwood is looking for around $25 million to $30 million on his next contract. If he can send the season as a 25 to 30 goal scorer, is looking for 20. If he can send the season as a okay. So if he can actually hit that number, that's what he's going to be looking for. Hasn't been given any indication that any other teams are allowed to talk to his agent. I think you need to do that personally. Like, I don't see a lot of disadvantage by not letting teams speak contract extension. If you're going to trade the guy, you might as well let these guys talk and potentially get a contract extension, because it will just raise the value of your trade. I never could quite understand why they would keep that a secret. It's kind of a weird one for me. The Stars are looking at adding Sherwood as a rental, while other teams want to acquire him to sign to an extension. That's interesting. So there are teams kind of looking at both directions there, with a rental and also with a extension. So which way are they going to go? That's fascinating. The Stars, the Wild, the Bruins, the Canadiens, the Flyers, the Kraken, the Blue Jackets, and the Oilers have all asked about Sherwood. That is a hell of a list there. By the way, the Vancouver Canucks did have scout. They've been scouting Montreal pretty hard recently, so that's something to keep an eye on. The asking price is the equivalent of value of a first-round pick and or another asset. So this is now the second person who mentioned that it's potentially, and this is with David as well. So I guess that was both the fourth period. So interesting. Also on the Vancouver Canucks, a lot of talk about Dale Talon taking over as president of hockey operations position from Jim Rutherford. However, Irfan completely refutes this, a zero indication that he's positioned himself for a front office job, nor wants to be more involved. Has been told there is zero truth to the Dale Talon being elevated. So there goes that rumor out the door. Teams are asking about their other players. Garland, of course, has generated interest GMs don't like trading players over the holidays. All right. So that's that. So I also posted a video this morning. If you guys were one of the lucky ones that actually saw it, it was me in the wilderness talking about the Canucks and this Elliotte Friedman report. I did take the video down just because, I took it before I went to work. Okay. And it was just like a 4-minute video, and like 2 minutes was Friedman, and it was 2 minutes of me. And I just didn't feel like I talked enough about it. I probably should have made it a little bit longer of a video. And because I used such a long Elliotte Friedman clip from the podcast there, I just felt kind of uncomfortable leaving it up because I don't want to have a video that long, right? Or that short. If it's half of it's just Friedman, I'd rather just talk about it and all that lovely stuff. So I did take it down. I thought we could talk about it here instead with a lot more detail, which makes a lot more sense there. So, Vancouver Canucks. This is, by the way, from the Morning Cup of Hockey podcast. Definitely go check them out. Really, really good pod there. Isn't sure how quickly the Vancouver Canucks are going to make a trade. Initially, though, that Sherwood would be traded by the end of the road trip, but was told that's probably not going to happen. The Canucks ask for Sherwood is high. The Wild are one of the teams that are in on Sherwood. So now the Minnesota Wild is another name that has been popping up a little bit about that, right? So a lot of people thought they would trade him early, but it has slowed down with the trade talk here with Sherwood. Or not trade talk, there's discussions going on, but some people thought it would happen sooner rather than later. By the way, we have Mega in here. I think it all comes down to Quinn wants to stay for the rebuild or retool. We're not rebuilding. There's a new report today mentioning that the Vancouver Canucks are not interested in rebuilding. It's not going to happen. And it's obvious. They didn't rebuild during the Jim Benning era, so they're not going to rebuild. It's going to be another retool. They're going to try to get young players. Hopefully they use their draft picks. They don't trade them, considering where we are in the standings. I think it just makes no sense running it back personally, but we're not doing a full-blown rebuild. It's not happening. Either way, we need to get younger, faster, bigger, and more skilled. Not enough bite to this team. I agree on all those sentiments. Minnesota Wild are looking for a player with an edge. Some concern that the blue line doesn't mean enough. Okay. As for Team Canada, if you guys are interested in that, Bennington will be there even though he hasn't had a good season. Some NHL teams are starting to get real nervous about players due to their current injuries. Players are just going to have to deal with the Olympic rink being smaller than an NHL rink. The small rink was a surprise to the NHL and NHLPA, but wasn't a surprise to NHL teams. I think I read something about like potentially they won't go if they don't have a rink at all, which I guess makes sense. They have nowhere to play, but how could they not have a rink? It's the Olympics is like, we're like so close. Like it doesn't make sense. Quinn Hughes won't be purely unproven assets. By the way, this is with Elliotte Friedman. Won't be purely unproven assets in exchange for him, but a trade won't include someone like Michkov or Lucas Raymond either. So like right off the bat, if Michkov is not involved in a trade for Quinn Hughes, then I don't see any way Philadelphia goes and gets a guy like Quinn Hughes. I think Detroit has a much better chance, and we'll talk about that. The longer this goes on, the more leverage is with Hughes rather than the Canucks. Legitimate NHLers would go in return for Hughes. So, again, the longer this goes, the more leverage is with Hughes. So the Canucks need to figure it out quicker, sooner rather than later, right? Legitimate NHLers would be the go into return. Now, what does that mean, legitimate NHLers? Like, would you consider Nate Danielson a legitimate NHLer? He's been playing in the NHL. He's been good. Just something to think about. The Red Wings have a center that they can trade. Has the Red Wings very high on a list of destinations for Hughes. Always looks at which teams have made trades together in the past, and the Canucks and Red Wings linked up on the Hronik. Calls the Red Wings very legit. Everyone can figure out the center he is talking about, but he doesn't want to give the name. So he did clarify a little bit on this a little bit later on. I think it was on Sportsnet 650, and he mentioned that that it was not Dylan Larkin, basically. And he said it could be the other guys, but Dylan Larkin was not the guy the Canucks were interested, or the Detroit were willing to trade. But they do have Danielson. They have Casper. They have their first. They have Sandin Pellikka. Like, they have a lot of good young players on Detroit. Like, and it's Quinn would be an interesting place. Would he actually sign there? Another interesting thing. Like, that's a great destination. And something that definitely, it makes a ton of sense. Canucks have made it very clear that they have to get another center. Yeah, we've been trying to get a center for years. It's time. He thinks he'll get traded to the East. Look at teams with centers at top candidates to thing. Another team, interesting by the way, team would be maybe the Columbus Blue Jackets. They do have a decent amount of centers there and some really good wingers like Kent Johnson as well. So that's something to look out for. We need to build a cupboard. How do you not see that? I think they want to do both at the same time, which is just, it's what they want to do. It's what they're going to do. It's what they always do. Let's be honest. Rebuild. Yes, Louis the Logger wants a full-blown rebuild. I think many people do. If you can't get a haul or strong-arm teams for a player like Hughes, then we have the wrong GM. Yeah, perfectly fair to say. Perfectly fair to say. And they shouldn't be trusted to make any moves. Yeah, it's fair. That's a fair comment. So, yeah, so that was from, by the way, the Morning Cup of Hockey podcast. Go check them out. And, yeah, some really good interview there with Elliotte Friedman. So for the people that didn't get to see my walking in the rain video, that was, I guess, the little sneak peek Easter egg for future walking in the rain Canucks talk videos. I'll try to make them a little bit longer, so half the video is not Elliotte and the other half is me saying, "Oh, what did Elliotte say?" But I do appreciate Morning Cup of Hockey there with that clip. What I used in that clip under fair use, right? So, all right, so let's get going here. Anthony DeMarco, the Philadelphia Flyers' interest in Quinn Hughes. So this is pretty interesting as well, because Philadelphia is another team that a lot of people believe have an interesting shot at landing Quinn Hughes. But after hearing that potentially Michkov's not going to be available, I just don't see a point. I just don't see how they could do it. And a guy like Forrester is another name. Like, I don't know, man. Forrester, sorry. A source has said the Philadelphia Flyers have not had any conversations with the Canucks about him, but are interested in acquiring him if he's made available. You have to say that because we don't really know yet what Quinn Hughes wants, and we're not going to probably find out until closer to the deadline. I'm going to say a couple weeks before the deadline. Porter Martone and Matvei Michkov are untouchable. That's untouchable for the second best defenseman, arguably the best. Let's just say right now, pretty fair, second best defenseman in the league, who's 26 years old, who might potentially stay with your team, who has Rick Tocchet as your coach. Like, come on, he's available. If Quinn Hughes went out and said, "Hey, I'm going to stay in Philly," both those guys would be in that package. To be completely honest, let's be honest here. Let's not screw around. This is Quinn Hughes we're talking about. This isn't some Joe Schmo, you know? Let's not get kid around here. Would be reluctant to include Tyson Forster. Flyers prefer to center a package around Jamie Drysdale and Cam York. Yeah, I'm sure they would. Hey, here's this Ferrari. You can have them for a couple of years or longer. We're going to offer you a few dollars and a Volkswagen. Yeah, great. The source believes the York's contract would be very appealing. Sure, York's all right, but this is Quinn Hughes we're talking about. Like, Jamie Drysdale or Cam York is not going to ever center a package around Quinn Hughes. It's just not realistic. Maybe this is for Sherwood. Flyers aren't prepared to gut their team to acquire Quinn Hughes. Fair enough. That's their prerogative. Canucks have to be interested in Emil Andre, but are aware that pieces around him would need to be significantly higher if it's him instead of Drysdale or York. This is wild. It's the wild reports on this. with the Philadelphia Flyers. By the way, we have over 50 people on Twitter, over 20 people on YouTube. All I'm asking you guys is please hang out, be a part of this amazing brand new community we have. We're only like 4 to 5 months in on YouTube. By the end of the season, I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers. We are getting there. It's over 600 now. It's been an unbelievable journey. Come on YouTube, be a part of this too, man. Like, you leave a comment, talk with us, subscribe, leave a like, and all the people on Twitter, drop a follow as well, man. If you guys want to get future content here on the Vancouver Canucks, I do almost daily content streams, pretty much everything with the Vancouver Canucks, including collaborations and so many other things. Also, if you want to support other ways, you can become a member like Louis the Logger is right there. And also, you can leave super chats if you want to buy myself a coffee or something nice like that. That'd be great. All right. Canucks forwards. Flyers have not had any discussions with the Vancouver Canucks about their forwards. There's no imminent interest in Sherwood. The Flyers are preparing for there to move out some wingers over the next 6 to 7 months in order to fit their prospects in the lineup. So, no imminent interest in Sherwood. So, there goes that. Flyers have not had any discussions with the Canucks about their forwards. So, it doesn't look like Philadelphia Flyers, there's anything truly that interesting going on with Philadelphia, other than a lot of people would think that it would make a lot of sense because of, Rick Tocchet, how close it is and all that lovely stuff. It doesn't look to be the case at all. All right, Don and Dolly. Everybody loves Rick Dhaliwal and Don Taylor. And this was a spot they had on Check TV, so definitely go check that out as well. Kiefer Sherwood, 5 to 7 teams are in position to take a run at acquiring him and give the Canucks a young player instead of a futures deal. The Wild, the Canadians, are showing the most interest. Canucks scouted the Canadians game last night, mentions Zach Balduke. So Zach Balduke right here, 25 games played, 6 goals, 6 assists this season, 12 points. He's 6 foot, 187 points. Now, I haven't watched a ton of Zach play, to be completely honest, but from what I've heard, he seems to be a pretty damn decent player. And there are some Canucks fans out there that feel like he would be a really good piece to potentially add in Vancouver. The big question is, can you get him for Sherwood? Is that something that's realistic? Sherwood's a UFA. So, I don't know. I don't know if Montreal would go out and do something like that. I don't know if we have any Montreal Canadiens in here watching. But if there are any Montreal Canadian fans in here, please let me know. Some teams want him as a... Sorry. One team said that the Vancouver Canucks are slow playing on the Sherwood front and don't seem to be in a rush. I hate when they slow play. If you get what you want, or at least close to what you want, you pull the trigger and you move on, especially where we are in the standings. I think that should be the plan. I think it's logical. Slow playing hasn't worked with us in the past. But then again, rushing deals like the OEL deal hasn't worked either, but that was just stupidity, right? Some other teams want him as a rental, while some want to sign him. On the Vancouver Canucks, Jim Rutherford is the point man on trade talks. Well, yeah, he's always kind of been that way. I think people realize that Jim Rutherford is running the show mostly. And it's just how it is. I wish he got ourselves a practice facility. That would be nice, Jim, if you could get that going here soon. That'd be great. The Canucks really like the Flyers' Owen Tippett, but not for Sherwood, but for other stuff. Okay, so Owen Tippett. Okay, so let's look him up. How's Owen Tippett doing this season? So Owen Tippett this year is at 18 points in 26 games, so that's pretty decent. Right, he's 26 years old, 6'1", 210 pounds, and his cap hit is his cap hit is $6.2 million for the next 6 years. So it was an 8-year deal. So pretty pricey for sure, but decent stats, good player. So I feel like if they wanted him, are they looking at a guy like trading Connor Garland for him? Right? I just don't see, it's a lateral move, I would think, for the Philadelphia Flyers. Also, Owen Tippett's still pretty young, right? What's Garland's age? Garland's 29 years old, so he's 3 years older. So could that be something the Canucks or Philadelphia is looking at? Stay tuned. I don't know, right? But it's not going to be for Sherwood because Sherwood's a UFA, and I don't think that should be in a package for Quinn Hughes unless there's like a hell of a lot more available as well. Also, they're going after Pavel Mintyukov as well if he's available. So that's what we have there on Don and Dolly. Thoughts, chat. This is your time to shine on all the news we have so far. What do you think? What do you think about the Kiefer Sherwood front? Would you be interested in a guy like Zach Balduke? Are you interested in trading Connor Garland? And what would you do here with Quinn Hughes? By the way, top fans so far, 75 points. Mega, you are in the lead right there. So Mega, well done on chat. And yeah, so it's pretty fascinating right now with the Vancouver Canucks and seeing how they're going to go out and kind of handle business this year. But let's not kid ourselves. If like we are what right now? Are we second worst, third or second worst in the league? Let me check out NHL Tankathon here. Let's go NHL Tankathon. Let's take a quick look. So on NHL Tankathon, standings-wise, we are third worst in the league right now. We have a point percentage of .426. We're 2-6-2 in the last 10 games. We're 10-14-3. By the way, we need to go on apparently on a 109-point pace to make the playoffs. And we have David Kampf as our second-line center. It's not a shot at David Kampf. He's not a second-line center, though I think it's pretty fair to say. But we're not going to make any run with the roster we have currently constructed. And I think that was one of the big problems in the offseason. They didn't get the proper depth. The moment the centers went down, kaput. That was it. That was the end of it. So, yeah, that's the Vancouver Canucks right now. What do you guys think? Let me know. It's pretty fascinating, though. Pretty fascinating. So, let me put up Zach Balduke again here. And if there are any Montreal Canadian fans in here, too, that would be great. I would love to hear your opinions on Zach Balduke and how he's been so far this year. Also, other guys like to potentially trade for. You know, you have Sillinger out there in Columbus. Ken Johnson is another guy, winger in Columbus. Really like the guy. I think he's a really good player. Just the year before, he put up almost a point per game, which is crazy. That's why he's struggling this year. It's just kind of wild to me. More than anything, I can't believe he's struggling so much, but he is. He's unfortunately struggling. So there's that. But yeah, it looks like that's everything, guys. So any final comments here on Canucks news you might have missed? Tell Philly to call when they stop kidding around. Yeah, well, realistically, Cash, you have to think if you're Philadelphia and you're not willing to trade any of your like super good prospects for a guy like Quinn Hughes, then don't even like. There's no point of even having the discussions. Like we're not gonna, unless the Canucks make a huge mistake. It just wouldn't make any sense. Calvin, I think management is gonna stand pat. I don't think we are gonna get any trade offers that please them. We will get stuffed because no one wants to come here. You know what? I don't know if that's the case. There's a lot of players that chose to come here because they thought they would have opportunities. Right? An obvious name is, David Kampf. He chose to come here, right? Now, with these trades, well, if they have no movement clauses, no trade clauses, well, they don't have much of a choice. They have to come here. So there's that. I don't think we're going to get any trade offers that please them. Well, that's the thing, right? Is if this management group and this ownership group takes too long here, like I really do wonder. Like they couldn't even get a guy like Brock Besser traded. And now it kind of worked out for us because he obviously signed a long-term contract, so thank God for that. But like that was at the time that was so bad. People were so mad, right? He was the number one guy on the board as well, and they couldn't go out and get. They're saying that he couldn't even get a first-round pick. I just find that so hard to believe. I think they were looking for something interesting, something different, and they didn't want to, bite the bullet there. We are in lottery country right now, and I would like a shot at any of the top 5 picks. Well, if this season continues to go this way and the injuries continue to happen the way they are, it's going to happen, right? Like, we're going to be in that lottery picture. We're not going to win the lottery. We're Vancouver Canucks fans. Let's be honest. We're never going to win the lottery. It's never going to happen. I'll believe it when I see it. We are meant for torture and pain, right? But hey, if we can get that second pick at least, that would be nice. Calvin 999 Charlie, could we still trade Besser, or does he have a full no movement clause? All right, so let's take a look. Brock Besser. Let's take a look what we got here for his cap here and his status. So we are in the first year here, and it looks like he has a no movement clause. It looks like a full no movement clause for 1, 2, 3, 4 years, and then he has a limited no movement clause for the last 3 years. So that's what it seems with Brock Besser. Also, I don't know if you want to trade a guy like him. Like, he's such a leader. You're going to need some vets and some leaders. But, like, we're thinking at this too logically. The Vancouver Canucks and the ownership is not... They're not thinking of this in a logical way. They're not thinking about it because they're not doing a full-blown rebuild. They're doing a retool. So we have to think in a retool sense. Right? The closest we came was a 2nd and 3rd pick. Canucks are Canada's Buffalo team, except we'll never hit the lotto first overall. I still can't believe that Buffalo Sabres just can't figure it out after so long. Now they've traded guys like Eichel and like Reinhart and so many guys that are just really good players, but it's still pretty shocking to me that a team like Buffalo hasn't figured it out yet. I think that's pretty wild. Honestly, that's pretty wild to me. Yeah, it's an odd one. It's a really odd one. I do think the Vancouver Canucks, though, if they are going to get draft picks, my worry is they're just going to flip it right away now. But I don't think we're in that same position we were as of last year or the year before. I don't think we're in that position. I think if we're going to get draft picks, use the damn draft picks, draft with the damn draft picks. And if you're not going to do a tear down rebuild, then at the very least, select your picks. At the very least, select your picks. At the bare minimum, go out and select your picks. I would be perfectly satisfied with that. I think that would be okay. Adam Foote needs to put him back on right wing. I wonder if he's trying to get more skill throughout the lineup. So let me put the lineup up right now. All right, let me put the lineup up for you guys right now. All right. So this is the Vancouver Canucks lineup. Right here. Right here. Oh, I have to delete this first. All right. Here we go. It's fairly accurate as of last night. Now, they did change the lineups a little bit, but this is what we have. Like, it's so blatantly obvious what's wrong with this team. And yes, injuries, but like, guys, like, and Carlson actually was on the top line last game, but just look at the center position. The management and the ownership basically said that Sasson is a winger. Atu Ratu is a decent 3rd or 4th line center, right? David Camp is a 4th line center playing 2nd line. We just don't have the center depth to compete against a lot of these teams. It's a talent issue right now. It's a talent issue. And when we do get top 5 pick, we choose Olio Levy and Jake Vertan and LOL or trade the pick. Well, we have made some picks. Like, they did go out and pick Elias Pettersson. They went out and picked Quinn Hughes. So it's like they did pick some guys. But, yeah, man, I was at that event when they picked Olio Levy. I remember. Do you guys remember that draft event in Vancouver? They got everybody thinking they're like from the London Knights, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's Tkachuk," and it's like, "Holy Olevi!" It's like, "Oh." I remember that. It's the worst forward crop. Like, it's not great. Like, with the injuries, with Hoglander, he should be back here soon. Bluger should be back. Those are going to help immensely on this team. But at the end of the day, we got to figure out the center position. Like, or you just keep doing what you're doing, and we're going to lose a stupid amount of games, and we're going to draft high, and I think some people would be okay with that. No way I have to watch that. You know, I'm still watching. I still want to be positive. I still want to be optimistic, but, like, it's getting tough, man. Like, it's getting really tough. It's getting really tough out there, boys. I think it's pretty fair to say it's getting pretty tough out there. What do we do? What do we do? So there was something else I wanted to show you guys. Let me see if I can find it here. Let me see if I can find it. Where are we? Let me see if I can find it. Just give me 1 second. God, my feed is just all Kyle Tucker right now, apparently. Apparently, he was in training camp, so, you know, Blue Jays fans are just going absolutely bonkers, which is kind of crazy. By the way, did you see what the Adam Foote said about Jonathan Lecker-Mackey? He mentioned he's smart. He's going to get bigger and stronger. Like, he's going to get thicker as time goes on. He's calm with the puck. He doesn't panic. He's not bad in the corners or in tough areas. But as he gets more comfortable with his pace and as he gets more girth, I think it will be good stuff, which is nice. Really nice comment here from the coach on Jonathan Lecker-Mackey. So, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, so it doesn't look like I can find that earlier post with the Vancouver Canucks. There was a post mentioning about the rebuild. I just can't seem to find it for some reason. By the way, Satyr Shaw. Oh, this is interesting. Oh boy, this is interesting. So Satyr Shaw on Canucks Central indicated that the Hughes camp has apparently, this is all apparently, rumors, that the Hughes camp has given that they want to wait until the summer to have the decision. See, like, this is what I mean, and I predicted this. If this is true, if this is true, I kind of went out and I predicted this because I said, if you're Quinn Hughes and you want to go to New Jersey, why would Quinn Hughes say, you know what, I'm gonna make my decision now? Like, if you're Quinn Hughes in this scenario and you want to go to New Jersey, you're basically gonna try to delay this as long as possible. And then you basically confirm you're going to go to either New Jersey or somewhere real close in the offseason because they'll have to trade you because he's not going to stay if he doesn't want to stay. So the only way you trade Quinn is the organization would have to go and actually, beyond his will, potentially say, hey, we're trading you. You can tell us where you would like to go, or we're just going to go out and trade you. Do they have the courage to go and say that to our captain? Well, the Calgary Flames, I'm not sure if it was Tkachuk or Calgary, one of those two, you know, that's what happened in Calgary's situation, right? So that's something interesting. By the way, Gary Mason, not happy with Quinn Hughes. Incredibly surprised and disappointed by Hughes' demeanor in the recent days on and off the ice. Not very professional and, in fact, quite immature. It won't hurt his trade value, but it shows a side of him I wish I hadn't seen. What's your guys' opinion on, like, are you upset with Quinn that he's kind of slouching his shoulders a bit and looks a little bit upset here? Or are you just being like, dude, we're like third last in the league. He expected to have a good year, and it's just the Canucks are not doing well, so he's going to slump. I'm kind of mixed. I kind of get it, but at the same time, he is the captain, and I feel as the captain, he shouldn't, you know, do some of those effort shifts. But at the same time, I kind of get it because Quinn Hughes, like, is just so pissed off, and he's such a competitor too. So I kind of get both ways. I think it's kind of in between. Canucks have The D-Corps were one of the best to make up for it, but the defense has been great. Yeah, the defense, by the way, hey, Bad, what's going on, man? The first time I think I've seen you in here. Welcome. Nice to have you in here. Yeah, well, the thing is, they had a sophomore slump from DPD who got sent down. I actually mentioned it last stream that they should think about sending him down to get him some more minutes. It's exactly what they did today, so there you go. Marcus Pedersen and Tyler Myers are not having good years. But Hronek and Quinn Hughes, Hronek's been really good. Quinn's been all right. So the rest of those guys, but also the injury to Forber has just really hurt our penalty kill. Really, really hurt our penalty kill. Passed on Tkachuk. Yes, we did. Was there any word on Hito? I know Hoggy was in a non-contact jersey, but yeah, any word from him? Haven't heard anything new. The last time it was a conversation with Adam Foote, I believe he, like, I don't want to misquote here. Maybe you guys can find it, but something like he still has some time. He's not ready yet. But he went a little bit more into detail on it. Quinn has no thing on his contracting training. Exactly. So Quinn Hughes can be traded absolutely anywhere. So there's lag. Am I lagging, guys? If I'm lagging, just let me know in the chat. That'll be great to know. If I'm not seeing any lag, I just quickly went on YouTube. But if there is lag, let me know. He's going to pull Tkachuk. Yeah, a bit. No, that's not good. So that StreamYard's messing up, unfortunately. No lag here. Interesting. Well, we've kind of went at it for 45 minutes. That's about right. So I hope you guys have a good day. It was a nice little chit-chat here. I don't know if we're always going to be doing these live versions of Canucks news you might have missed, but I was in the mood to talk some hockey, so I thought I'd jump on and hang out with you guys. So it was a lot of fun. So I hope you guys have an awesome day, man. For all the people that haven't subbed, go sub, drop a like. Really appreciate it, and I hope you guys have an awesome, awesome day. Thank you to all the people that shared all the news and the Canucks news summaries with the recaps. Thank you so much, guys, and I hope you guys have an awesome night. Cheers.